On the deadly attack in Germany and the assassination of the Russian ambassador in Turkey, highlighting just how turbulent the challenges are that await President-elect Donald Trump. And his initial responses suggest the White House will take a sharply different approach to unexpected crises such as these. Gillian Turner is a former White House National Security Council staff for President George W. Bush and Barack Obama. She's also a Fox News contributor. Gillian, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
First,
good to see you.
You too, and I do want to get your reaction first and foremost to the news of the day. We're learning a lot more about this young man, so I want to ask you, from your standpoint, when we hear that he had a number of aliases, that authorities were really looking at him, what's going on behind the scenes, and also what's your reaction to those developments today?
My first reaction when I was reading about this earlier is to think that if it's confirmed that this young man is in fact some kind of a refugee, there are reports that there were asylum papers found in the cab of the truck. This is devastating news for Germany, particularly for Angela Merkel, because as you know, the hallmark of her tenure has come to be the admittance of hundreds of thousands of refugees from the Middle East, particularly from Syria, into Germany. And so she's largely perceived to be the figurehead of that movement. But even if it turns out that this person is not a refugee or someone seeking asylum, Germany still has a major problem on its hands. As you know, we've talked about before, literally dozens of people have left Germany over the last 2 years to travel to Syria to try and join ISIS. They've trained with them and have returned to the EU, and the public numbers on the number of people who have returned tends to be lower than is underestimated, let's say. So there's a major problem here for Germany.
But we also know that authorities had their eyes on him, like you had said, that he was traveling in borderless parts of that continent. But I want to ask you, what can we learn from it? What can we learn about vetting? What's the takeaway here?
Well, this is something, the most immediate concern that I think the Trump administration is going to have to deal with once they assume office a month from now. How we keep track not only of people who are trying to come to the United States to visit, but how we keep track of them once they're here. So as we know about this guy in Germany, he had already been inside the country for quite some time. He had applied and been denied asylum. The question then for law enforcement becomes, why was he still in the country? Why hadn't he been deported? And that's kind of the issue that we're going to have to grapple with here at home, when to kind of take a hard line with folks who we perceive as a security risk and actually force them out of the country.